Let it go, let it go. Okay, dude, I had to listen to that song so much because my daughter absolutely loved it growing up. But we're going to talk about that song. We're going to talk about Beyonce's song, Irreplaceable. And then we're going to talk about detachment. Because what is it? Because there's so much, I think, misinterpretation around detachment that is not helpful. And even other fellow coaches, I think, are doing and saying things that are actually creating more, ironically, more mental health issues around, am I detaching? Am I not detaching? What should I be detaching? And all of this kind of stuff. And I get that they're heartfelt, and there's loads of coaches that I respect, and so on and so forth. So this is not even knocking coaches. This is just, I think, a general misconception around what we're meant to detach from. Okay? So what I want you to always remember, though, is that there's two stories. Okay? There's never one. Okay, so if you're trying to attract or manifest a story of wealth, then there can also be the tempting story of not having it, poverty, right? And so on and so forth. There's never one story. In fact, I'm not really into duality, so I would say that there's a multiplicity of stories. There's a multiplicity of options, right? And quantum theory does that really well, right? Talks about probability a lot, okay? Now, what I want you to do, though, is I want you to notice that when we talk about detachment, it is not necessarily detaching from anything out here, unless that's part of the story that's keeping you from moving forward. Are you with me? Because the problem is people hear the word detachment, some people define it as hatred of. That is not what detachment is. Okay? The one thing that you should never detach from is realizing that you are the creator of your reality. Because once you do, you've given your power away. You've given your ability to create, right, a way to an object, to a person, to a religion, to a circumstance, right? And so that is ultimately what you never want to give away. That is the one condition that you always want to accept as true. I have got the power. I've got the power, right? All that, man, today's like really song loaded. But anyhow, okay, I want you to be fully aware of that is the one condition. Now, definitely give up conditions. Detach from conditions. I know another coach who says that you shouldn't detach from conditions. Like I said, the only one condition you don't want to ever detach from is that you are the most powerful being, right? That is the one condition that you never want to give up. And most people, ironically and sadly, they give up that one first. Because then they feel like their parents are too powerful, the IRS is too powerful, the housing market's too powerful, the Bible's too powerful, their SP's too powerful. Whatever it is, they automatically give that up, and that's what causes people to freak out. Because then they're looking at the circumstances, that has more power than me, right? And there's this verse in the Bible that's just amazing. And it's talking about how there were spies in the land, and they looked at what these beings appeared, and it actually uses this word, they appeared to them as giants, which made them appear to themselves as grasshoppers. Do you notice that? So anytime you see the word see in the Bible comes up, it means appear. And that means interpret, and that means perceive, and that means give meaning to, and that means give attention to, right? So do you understand? Detaching is detaching your attention from, right, the old story. Also, people hear detachment and they think I need to detach from my new story. Why would I want to detach from my new story? Another way of saying that is, and I read this even today, oh, I need to detach from my desire, because if I had it, why wouldn't I want it? Do you understand how that sounds like it makes sense, but then also it sounds like it doesn't make sense? So detachment doesn't mean that you have to let go of the joy and excitement of getting what you want. Why? That just doesn't make sense, right? That's like literally saying, go be Eeyore while you're manifesting what you want. No. So detachment is always 100% fundamentally about the old story. Now, if you've watched my video on faith, which you should do, right? I talk about how faith is what? Giving your beliefs and your energy and your time and, any emotion, right, to the unseen reality, which means to the desire that you want to manifest. So detachment is the opposite. It's giving up beliefs. and your time and your attention and your gifts and your talents. And I'm meaning like literally here. I'm not just saying it in here, I'm saying in this world, right? How are you investing in the old story? Start detaching by removing that energy, by removing how you're spending time with people that drain your energy, that you remove whatever it is that helps you detach. That is how you detach. You remove it, not militantly. Don't be a jerk, be loving, right? Operate out of the golden rule, like Neville says, right? And so again, and yes, you can ignore them in here and they have to go. So to recap, you do not need to detach from your understanding that you are the only creator. You do need to detach that anybody else could have any influence over what you want to manifest. That is one of the biggest steps that you could ever take in understanding what it means to detach. It also does not mean to detach from your desires or your end desire. It just doesn't, right? The Bible uses the metaphor of a child, right? And what does a child do when you tell them, hey, we're going to go to the park, we're going to Disneyland, we're going to go to whatever it is where you want to take them, right? What do? They get excited. They don't sit there and ask the how and the what and the when and the what. They're just excited because you just told them something awesome, right? This can also be part of your detachment cycle, okay? What that means is you can still be excited. You can still know that it's going to come and still be like, yes, this is amazing, and live in that state, right? This is not about toxic positivity. I'm against that, right? But it is an awareness or an inner attention of knowing that, hey, this is going to happen. And right, what that's going to do though is over time, if you keep rehearsing that, that's going to make detachment easier because you're not going to really buy into the old story anymore because you've gotten so excited over the new one. Are you with me? So again, remember, and another way of understanding this as well as we close is, using our good old friend Beyonce, right, is essentially her song Irreplaceable is amazing. Because that's another and a much better way to understand what detachment is, okay? So her song Irreplaceable, and take the word irreplaceable. What does that mean? That means you can't replace me. I'm not replaceable, right? You can't go and switch me out for something else, okay? So detachment is doing the exact opposite and knowing that things change. Things can change. Things are changeable, okay? So you're detaching from thinking this thing over here, the circumstances, this moment, this conversation you had you didn't want to have, all this kind of stuff is somehow permanent. So that's what you're detaching from thinking anything that you didn't want to happen and it happened in a certain way or shape or form or something was said or, that it is somehow permanent. So what you do, detachment is letting go of the permanence. That's why it's really awesome to actually understand detachment better defined as this idea of replaceability. Thank you, Beyonce, right? And so when you really, really grasp that's what you're doing, is you're letting go of that's not solid. That doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to end that way, right? Then you can begin doing the work of creating a scene that one proves it's replaceable. Because that's what you are doing. You're replacing it. You're overlaying it with a new scene, with a new memory that you're rehearsing over and over. And that's going to end up changing who? You. That's what detachment is about, right? How is it changing you?